And we're back with another video. Sorry it took so long. There's a big gap between last video and this video. And that's because of technical issues. I tried two different laptops, two different desktops, and for some reason there was a glitch in every single video. I made four different videos, roughly half an hour each, and there was something wrong with each and every video. So I figured, you know what, I'm not going to post that. I'm going to try and do it right. So this time, I'm kind of back to the drawing board with one laptop, which is a bit quicker than the other ones. Technology, not good, not good. Um, but anyway, I know some of you say, it's okay, it's okay. Glitches are good. Nah, we, ha- to, you know me by now. Okay, if I'm not happy with a particular video or something, if something's not right, I have to fix it. It's the OCD in me, and yeah, stuff like that has to be fixed. A couple things that I wanted to talk about that I didn't get to talk about regarding auditions and performances. And some of you out there auditioned or you saw auditions, and you've been watching America's Got Talent, and you see some of the auditions that have come up. How they ever got through is beyond me. But when we had auditions, we had some incredible auditions, and then they would go on stage and bleh, like they would, nothing would happen. On the other hand, there's a couple of people who auditioned that I said no to, and later on, I realized I should have let them go through because they were that far away from doing a really good job, and so that's just the way it is. But I had them. I always had people audition in front of stage crew because these guys had to watch what was happening. And unlike things like the band, which you go on stage and you're prepared, with stage crew, anything and everything could happen. Um, One audition that we did, some of you might remember, there was a girl who sang, and she wasn't particularly good. Well, I heard her sing a couple of years later in the choir, and she was amazing. So I called her back for an audition. I said, "Okay, I want you to be in this year's talent show." And she went on stage, and she was horrendous. Just, I mean, auto tune couldn't have helped. So I mean, it's just, but you know what? The bottom line was, and for me, it was always one thing. The process probably was always more important than the end result. So if someone went on stage and flubbed, it wasn't such a hoo ha. They tried, they got up, and I think the audience also knew that they were getting up there and trying. But probably the one audition that led to all kinds of good stuff, and I think I spoke about this guy, but I'm going to name him Owen Lee. Um, Grade 9 kid, and he wanted to go up and sing Amazing Grace a cappella, no accompaniment. And he auditioned, and he was really good. I figured, okay, let's give him a try. And he did. And he was amazing. And the hair on the back of people's necks stood up. And he went on. He is now, as far as I know, a prominent conductor in Halifax of a large choir. He went on to win, I think, York Idol. He played sax. He did all kinds of stuff. And every time I gave him a challenge, he rose to it. So the audition sometimes worked out, and that was good. Um, and the talent shows themselves. That's just another one I want to talk about. I think it was 2000, the year 2000. Uh, we had the control booth at the back of the CAF, as we always did. And all the sound equipment, every bit of sound and spotlights and everything, I think were plugged into one outlet at the back of the CAF, right behind the sound table. And or was it? It was either there or it was the one in the middle of the calf where we used to put the table in the middle of the calf. Um, I think it was probably that one, and I was back there just watching what was going on. I wasn't involved in the soundboard or anything like that. And in walking behind the table, I kicked the plug out of the wall, which shut the lights down. It shut the sound down. It shut the spotlight down, and everything went dark. And people were running around looking for what was going on, and it was me. And the next time we did a show, or the next 2 3 times we did shows, stage crew people would always make a point of mentioning, "Sir, this time don't kick the plug, okay? Don't kick the plug." So I tried not to, but yeah, I mean, it was we oh that's right, 2000. We were using the 12 channel amp, which we had loaned to one of the public schools. I don't know why, but we did. When we got it back, I didn't know that one of the two components had been fried. So about 10 minutes into the show, all of a sudden, people on stage started sounding like Daffy Duck and Mickey Mouse. And it was the amp. The amp was screwing up big time. So we went and we got the Tascam 6 channel. And we were unplugging and plugging back into the 6 channel. Unbeknownst to me, the 6 channel was also broken. And we had one guy finally run home, which around the corner, and bring in his power amp. And we finished the show on his power amp. And that, I was embarrassed as hell. It was a disaster. The whole show was a disaster. And the principal said to me, "We need to improve the sound system and we need to spend money on it so that it'll never happen again." And he gave us a shitload of money. And we fixed it all up and we got stuff repaired and we ended up with hanging mics on stage, which probably are still there. People have no idea what they are. They're two $500 each Audio Technica stage mics. And no, I'm pretty sure today nobody knows, and except maybe for Miss Daniel, nobody knows where to plug them in. Nobody knows what the cables are for. I tried for years to teach other members of staff the intricacies of stage crew and what plugged into which. And we had 12 wireless mics, lavalier mics, and we had a couple of wireless hand mics, and we had 7 or 8 Shure SM58s mics and cables and all kinds of weird stuff. And I tried for years and years and years to try and recruit somebody for stage crew, but nobody did. Nobody wanted it. It was too complicated for them, or they were technical enough. But I think maybe the only other person on staff is that gentleman back in Auto Body, whose name escapes me, and he lives around the corner from me. I haven't spoken to him in quite a long time, but I should speak to him. He's the only other person. He's a sound guy, he's a guitar player, long hair. He would know how to hook stuff up. In fact, he did. But I knew that when I left, nobody would know. And the person they hired for me, who was plunked into the job and totally unqualified to do so, she had no clue what she was doing. And it's just too bad, because I spent 31 years perfecting that sound system and the lighting and the all the stuff that went into that calf, and I don't even know if half of the stuff is being used, and I don't know if people know where half of the stuff is. It's just too bad. However, not my job anymore, not my problem. I haven't been back to school, by the way, but we had shows that went really, really well. And the ironic thing was, it took all those years to build up a sound technical lineup that the stage crew could work with, and it was done in such a way, especially with the stage crew, they taught each other, and I think that was wonderful. I don't think I spent a whole lot of time once in a while teaching what the trim is on the soundboard, and what the pan does, and so on and so forth. They taught each other, and they were responsible for each other, and they would correct each other. And that's probably what made the stage crew an amazing organism within the school. And it never got a thank you from anybody. It never got an out. And okay, once in a blue moon we would do something, and then there would be refreshments afterwards, and they would, they'd be treated to the refreshments, which was really nice. We had one rehearsal on a Sunday, and I said, I think I may have told the story, but why not? I'll tell it again. There was one new guy on the crew, a gentleman from Jamaica, big tall guy, and I ordered pizzas for the stage crew in the break. We were doing a rehearsal of a play on stage, and the director had the actors in one room, and I had the stage crew in the other room, and I ordered pizza for them. And this one guy, Gary, I had my back turned. I went into my office for something, and I came back out, and he had devoured an entire pizza by himself. And I think I only ordered maybe 4 or 5 pizzas for the whole group. I said, you have to share. He said, share. Oh, you didn't say share. You just said have some pizza. Okay, well, I learned my lesson, but it was funny. We had a student have a reaction to a pizza. I don't know what possessed somebody, but they wanted, I forget, some vegetable on one half of one of the pizzas, and this guy was eating it, and so on. This other guy, and he afterwards he said to me, I can't breathe. I said, are you having a reaction to the pizza? He said, maybe. I said, what are you allergic to? And he named the ingredient that was, I think it was tomato. Tomato sauce? No, it wasn't tomato. It was something on the pizza. So I called his home, and his mother came, picked him up, took him to the hospital, and he was okay. But I learned from that point on, you learn from that point on, always check what's on these pizzas. And excuse me, and who is allergic to what. We had one young lady who was allergic to perfume, quite allergic to perfume. And she sat beside another girl who must have used half a bottle of perfume one day. And this girl walked into the room and then walked out, and she said, sir, I can't come in class today because what's her name is wearing something, and I can't breathe in there. And again, taught me a lesson. Okay, guys, listen, there's a person allergic to that, and you're going to have to somehow either not wear perfume or not wear that perfume, essence of furniture or whatever it was. We had a teacher who was allergic to citrus, and someone was in the staff room peeling an orange, and this teacher walked in and turned around and walked out, and she said, I can't go in the room. Citrus, she broke into hives. So you got to watch the allergies, I suppose, and you'll learn. But the stage crew was one of those organisms that I'm really, really proud of. Really proud to be associated with all of the students over the years that joined the crew, and then went on to maybe do other technical stuff, as a few of them did. And it was wonderful. It's gratifying, very gratifying. And just as I mentioned, I learned it from my mentor back at my high school, who would go out and get the students, the lowest functioning students, and he would have them on the crew, not so much to actually do anything, but they would become part of an organization, and they would feel welcome. And my view was, no, 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 this is going to have to be a functioning group. This is going to have to be an elite group within the school that understands what goes on, understands a complex situation and how to fix it. And it became that. And for 31 years, I was very proud to be associated with, as I say, a lot of students. I never did teach in music, um, but an elite group of students. And if you're out there and you're watching, for all the thank yous you never did get, for all the productions that we made other people look good, and they never thanked me, and that's actually a bone of contention with me. And there's a couple of teachers. I think there's one teacher still at the school. Um, I mean, we maybe he's not at the school anymore. We staged assembly after assembly after assembly over a period of 5 or 6 years with this gentleman, and there was never the thank you. It was just taken for granted that the stage crew would be involved. Anyway, that's just the way it was. Thank you very much for everything. Um, I was in a store, Radio Shack, maybe, and all of the components today. I mean, the soundboards, and I was Long and McQuaid as well. Long and McQuaid just before the coronavirus shutdown. And I would love to use some of the soundboards and amplifiers that they have now. Oh my God. It makes ours look like the kind you crank up. And but when I started recording music, I did so on reel-to-reel tapes, on 1-inch tapes, and we were using, it was mono, so you had one sound input, and you would record one line of music on the tape. Then you would play the tape back and record a second line of music on a separate tape recorder. So one reel-to-reel tape recorder would be playing, the second one would be recording. And then when they were done, on cue, both would be turned on, and a third one would record those two. Following me? And then we had 2 lines of music on the third reel-to-reel, and then we would record the 4th line of music on one of the first ones, while the third one was playing, and we would record the 4th line of music, or the 5th line of music, onto the middle one, and we would ping pong stuff back and forth. And if you made a mistake and you wanted to drop in a correction, you literally took the tape, you laid it on a specially designed um, tape something, blah, blah, I don't know, something, and you took a razor blade and you cut the tape diagonally. It's called splicing, and you cut it again in another spot, and then you join those 2 pieces of tape together on the other side with Scotch tape, and that's called a splice. That's how we did it. And sometimes if you listen to really old recordings, you'll be listening to the music and all of a sudden it'll go thup. That's the splice as the tape is running through the machine. So we went from that to recording on cassette, and in fact we recorded a couple of assemblies on cassette. And at one assembly way back in the early 80s, I remember we were recording it on a Tascam Porta 1, and it was a 45-minute cassette, so 22 and a half minutes per side. So at the 22-minute mark, we waited for an act to finish on stage, all right, and then we had to actually take the tape out, flip it over, put it back in, and then the next act could go on. So there was about a 4 or 5 minute gap between acts, and so that worked out really well. But ultimately moving on. Today I'm pretty sure you could record the entire thing digitally, and I would love to have been able to use that kind of equipment. The other bugaboo that used to drive me crazy with stage crew were people looking out from the wings. There's 2 things I always used to say. If you can see the audience, they can see you. And sometimes the performers, and this is what I talked about, the stage, the fashion show. fashion show people, God bless them. Some of them, I said I was backstage, and we had the teasers, the side panels, in a certain way you couldn't see off stage, and one guy's going. I said, "Don't look out. You're not supposed to." Why not? Because you're not supposed to. I said, if you can see the audience, they can see you, and you're taking the attention away from whoever is on the stage. If you're on the stage, would you want some idiot over there going, no? Okay, well then don't do it. Okay. I turn around, he's doing it again. Fashion show people. The other thing I always used to say is mics don't read lips. Right? And that was the other thing when people would get on stage, and they would hold the mic right up there, and they would talk really, really quietly, so you couldn't actually hear what they were saying. The mics don't read lips. So for those of you who are in a job or you're in a position where you're doing presentations to a big group with a microphone, now they have lavalier. The lavalier microphones are clip-on microphones. They're really super sensitive. Don't swear under your breath because they'll pick it up. A friend of mine did that in front of a presentation to a large real estate insurance corporation, something or other. There were about 400 people in this auditorium, and he's got the mic hooked up, and he's hooking up everything on stage in his presentation in the projector. And he starts swearing under his breath, not in those words. And so the audience starts to laugh. And he realizes he's being picked up, and it's broadcast through the whole auditorium. Yeah. So, a thank you to the stage crew and for putting up with me. And I used to pace. My ADD and my OCD could not allow me to stay in the calf when there was a show going on or a production going on. I couldn't do it. My stomach was a bundle of nerves, and you often saw me pacing the halls. Yeah, that's just, I couldn't do it. Unless I'm on stage, I couldn't even be backstage. To me, the shows that I actually had to run the soundboard because somebody was sick, that was fun because I got my hands on. But if I had to be in the calf for a show, it was really hard. It's not something that I enjoyed. I'd rather. That's why I would walk out and trust that the crew knew exactly what they were doing, and they did, and for the most part. And that was one of the gratifying things, if not the most gratifying thing. The band was a semester-ish thing. It only existed for one semester, so it was first semester, in which case they were gone for the rest of the year, unless I dragged them back together with a rehearsal, like for commencement. Or they were a second semester thing, which meant there was nothing going on first semester that I could do anything with, really, when you think about it. Did they talk about the school being semestered? No, I did. Well, I'm going to do it again. If I did it, if I talked about it before, you missed it. When I started the school, it was not semestered. It was 10 months straight through. It was a tumbling timetable. There were 10 classes, and there were 5 periods a day. So A, B, C, D, E, and the next day would be F, G, H, I, J. But they wouldn't be in that order. They would be tumbled. Okay, so Monday of week 1, you would have period A, whichever class you had, period A. That could be a math class, a music class, or this class, an art class. You would have it period 1. You'd skip a day. The next day, you'd have it in period 4. And then in the next day, you might skip that day, or you might have it in period 5. So there were 2 weeks, week A, week B, and you might have a class twice a week in week A, and 3 times a week in week B. So you'd have it 5 times over a 2-week period. But this ran from September to June. which was I find more beneficial. And the class was 45 minutes. So no, was it? I don't remember. 45 minutes, maybe 55 minutes. Anyway, you saw someone from September to June, so you could work more slowly on what you were working on. And by the time June rolled around or May rolled around, and you had a big show, you could had all this material that you'd been working all year on. And that was in 83, 84. That year, the heads of the departments, of which I was one, head of music, had a vote whether we would go semestered or not. And I was one of the only two heads not to go semestered. The other one was the gentleman who was head of moderns, languages. Because we realized that if you didn't go all year long, you'd lose something from one semester to another. And that's exactly what happened. But everybody else wanted to go semestering because that way they would be able to teach their horrid class of grade 10 general level math and get it out of the way in half a year and then teach something new. So that's why we went semestered. I plugged for non-semestered and didn't get it. And then after a number of years, they voted again. It was an experiment for after 3 or 4 years, and they voted again. And again, I lost. So it stayed semestered. So that's what happened with that. And everybody in the province, I think, went semestered, which is stupid. Because I would have somebody first semester of 1 year, and then I wouldn't see them until second semester of the year following. So a full calendar year would have elapsed, and they come back in their room, and where's the on button to the saxophone? Yeah, a lot of stuff. We made decisions back then that had repercussions for a while. Anyway, sorry about the delay. Not much to talk about today. I hope to have a little more material the next time we come back. Do the whole subscribe thing and or tell people about the videos. And I'm making a list of what people want me to talk about. So write down in the comments underneath what you want to talk about, and I'll talk about it. And you can discuss it. And I'm thinking about coming on live one day, and I'll publish it. I'll broadcast it at some point. We'll do a messenger live thing, and that way I can be live or online, and you guys can be typing in comments or whatever, and I can respond to them. And that's about it. It's hot out there, and it's also the 4th of August. 4th of August. If you haven't gotten vaccinated, you're stupid and foolish and a jerk. Yes, get vaccinated. I can't for the life of me understand why people would not want to get vaccinated. Oh, you might get the vaccine, the virus. No, that's being really stupid. You can't get the virus from the vaccine. The same way you can't get the flu from the flu shot. Come on. I mean, if you know anybody who hasn't had the vaccine yet, slap him and drag him into one of the clinics and get him shot. You hear stories, especially in the States, of people who are literally dying, and while they're dying, they're texting home before they get put on that ventilator saying, damn, I wish I would have had the shot. And then, 24 hours they're dead, which means they don't have to get the shot anymore, which is fine with everybody, but it's just too bad. But they're stupid people. The daughter of Doug Ford once also posted something on some social media. The daughter of Doug Ford posted something on social media where she said, yeah, my body, my this, my that, my freedom. You have the freedom to die whenever you want. You want to die sooner, you can die sooner. This is the way it is. I had one person, we talked about the whole virus, the shot. Yeah, sorry. And he said to me, I'm not getting a shot. I don't want it. I don't need it. I'm healthy. I said, okay, is your will made up? What are you talking about? I said, do you have a will? Why? Why? Well, do you have children? Yeah. Oh, good. Who's going to look after them when you're dead? I'm not going to die. Yeah. Those are the ones, stupid. Really stupid. Anyway, that's the bug off my chest. Yeah, it turned out to be a long video. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try. I think I've got the technical issues cleared up, and I wasn't as prepared today as I normally am, but I wanted to get this out to you, just to say hello, and see if everybody's doing well, and hopefully you are, and you've had your shots, and you're getting back out, and going to places and eating and enjoying the summer. Anyway, take care of yourselves. We'll speak to you later.